The formidable robot.
When you were little, what cartoon TV show did you watch often? Anything Disney related, like Phineas and Ferb or The Lion Guard? Or did you like any Nickelodeon shows, like SpongeBob or The Loud House? Did you enjoy them? Are you an avid Disney fan, or a Nickelodeon fan, by any chance? If so, then what if I told you that there is a cartoon TV show which has never been released, never been spoken of, and merely dropped out of existence? First, let me give some backstory. My name is Phil Baxter. I was a worker at an unknown studio called Swan Studios, with the owner, Henry Swan, in 2008. His brother, Fred Swan, was the animator of the cartoon, Carlton Cat. Carlton Cat is basically in the same animation as Cat and Keat, and is on the same level of infamy as SpongeBob SquarePants. But what separates our show from the others years later, is that the characters that are anthropomorphic animals dressed in human clothing. Carlton Cat, the main character, and the rest being Danny Dog, Brittany Bird, Gary Goldfish, and the main antagonist, Black Eye Bart, a pig dressed as a biker, would break the fourth wall with death stares, evil smiles, and threatening hand gestures. The cartoon has 14 episodes, and 3 seasons, making it the SpongeBob SquarePants of the era. But what happened in that studio will forever haunt my dreams, haunt my friends, and haunt me, for life. Let me start where it all began. In the known animated shorts, Carlton Cat is shown to be rather impatient and easily startled or timid, yet justifiably cheerful and mischievous as his cat-like nature would imply. So that's why he would get into mischief and cause trouble. Danny, on the other hand, seeming to retain his love of food, eating foods like sandwiches and carrots for example. In Berlin Picnic, Danny has a mostly simple-minded attitude and does not seem to care much for those around him. He has moments of being clumsy and will get cross when he is disturbed from his activities. From the Haunted Hijinks cartoon, Danny seems to be a bit of a trickster and can outsmart most characters, as seen when Danny wears a ghost costume to scare Carlton off, only to take his trick-or-treat candy basket. Danny seems to have an interest of playing the guitar, seen in his Rock and Roll Rooster poster. Suggested by the She Sings She Dances tagline from Britney's Stars from Above poster, Brittany Bird has a talent of dancing and singing. Heard from her Birds and the Bees song, she is revealed to be sweet and happy-go-lucky, as her kind-hearted nature would imply. The audio log made by Fred himself boasts the personality of a big thinker and dreamer, a man with large aspirations for both himself and his company. Claiming that belief can get everyone from anywhere in the world, Fred's larger-than-life attitude was most likely a major selling point to me and the staff when starting the studio. The other cassettes left behind by other employees, however, paint a different picture beneath the facade. With numerous references to Fred's harsh work ethic, a mind constantly disregarding old ideas for new ones, and his eccentricities regarding offerings to the so-called warriors in black. Fred's working personality hints at a more obsessive side to his work that slowly began to alienate his staff. Henry is a soft-spoken man, and rarely expresses emotions stronger than minor shock and/or annoyance upon seeing the bizarre happenings at the studio. Despite this, he also seems to be curious about his surroundings and the things he doesn't remember since his departure 4 years ago. He does show signs of optimism and a positive attitude on rare occasions, as evidenced during his interactions with me, the staff, and an old audio log from him about our employment at the studio. This is the part where shit goes down. In 2012, after I received a note from Fred, asking me to visit the workshop, I entered, and quickly discovered that the power is still running and that references to the studio's creation, Carlton Cat, are strewn throughout the environment. It isn't long before I find the creation Henry was working on, a projector. We were trying to work on the projector room, since the studio was still on repair, ever since what our staff called the projector incident, where the projector quickly caught fire. We told Henry that the projector wasn't ready. He never listens. During my exploration in the studio to find the toolbox in order to fix the projector, I was shocked to discover the dissected corpse of some stranger, strapped to a table. I wondered what Fred could have been doing to do this poor man. I restored the projector in the projector room, then turned it on. As I watched, I saw Carlton on screen. It was the episode we'd been working on, A Tale of Two Pretties. As Carlton did that twisted death stare, and that devilish smile again, he did something that freaked me out. He was climbing out of the screen. The next thing I knew, a twisted and deformed cat monster suddenly appears and lunges for me. I ran for the exit door, but the floor beneath me broke, and then I ascended, tumbling downward, and suddenly landed in the studio's basement. As I ventured deeper, I used an axe to break open a boarded door barring my path. I somehow entered a strange room with a pentagram in the center. I was suddenly struck down with pain, seeing visions of strange images as I collapsed to the floor unconscious. I regained consciousness, and to my shock and bewilderment, a recognizable face talked to me and was rather pleased by my visit. It was Fred. As the conversation goes on, he starts talking about honoring Carlton, but Fred revealed the cartoon cat to be Flores. Fred then realized the familiar face from mine, as he may have remembered me long ago, possibly suggesting that they worked together in the past. The sick bastard. Fred goes back to discuss about Flores and his plan to sacrifice me, so Fred will be successfully out of his human form. The sound of Flores crawling in another room is heard, drawing that psychotic asshole's attention, and he grows excited by Flores' arrival. Finishing the conversation, Fred walked to his room for the ritual. I wanted to kick his ass so bad, but with that thing running around, I wasn't going to take chances with it jumping at my flesh. In the beginning of the ritual, he speaks in some form of poetry for the second time that was previously said from his first physical encounter, using the microphone to speak through several amount of radios seen from the ritual room. Fred, totally excited, starts summoning Flores along with opening the gate that leads the way out. Flores was commanded by Fred to sacrifice me, so Fred will be released out from his human form in no time. However, as Fred's plan turns out to fail, he begs nervously to attempt defending himself when Flores goes after him instead, as he refused to sacrifice me. Right now, Fred's fate remains unknown, giving me the distraction I needed to escape by undoing the ropes that are holding me. After my axe broke, trying to clear the debris in my path, Flores himself appears before me and gives chase. As the walls once again begin to be corrupted with fire just from Flores' presence, I barely managed to escape the ancient demon and barricaded the door behind me. As I turned away to proceed, I saw a can of soup rolling in from around the corner. I demanded whoever's there to come out and show themselves, only to find that it was Henry. Seemingly alive and well. He asked me what was I doing here, then I flat out told him everything. Henry said that he knew what Fred was up to, and that he locked him in his studio to begin the sacrifice. But he said that Fred attempted to summon the demon, but to no avail, and said that he wasn't the sacrifice Fred needed, then he sent him away. But Henry came back, and that's where we met again, for years of bankruptcy and abandonment. He asked himself something that I will never forget.
What happened when I was gone?
And why did Flores go after Fred instead of me, you ask? Well, since I learned from experience with demonology, Flores enjoys offerings of rum, spicy foods, lem, and resin incenses. Flores is basically the demonized form of the Egyptian god Horus. I have discovered through a summoning blooper that Flores defiantly does not like Sutek, and vice versa. I recommend not calling Flores with a Sutek altar directly behind you. It was also noted during this experience that Flores finds the triangle in an evocation irrelevant. Flores can help the magician with protection, destroying one's enemies, chakra work, as well as spiritual consciousness raising. Flores' color is red, in which he appears as quite often to me. He also appears in a hawk-headed form regularly. I have yet to hear of anyone not getting along with Flores. He has great strength, as well as a very intense energy, yet is often soft-spoken when and peaceful when calm. I find Flores to be one of the most patient of the demons. Flores prefers his seal to be engraved on a ruby, or in gold. He also likes emeralds. Flores likes red, gold, or black candles. Flores also has a chthonic aspect that can be worked with. For statues, Flores prefers the falcon-headed Horus statue, preferably in black stone. The hawk-headed statue also works, however. Flores' sacred day is Saturday. Flores' sacred day of the year is July 15th. Flores can also be called on the winter solstice or Christmas as sacred days. Flores will come during the day or evening when called, yet evening workings do seem to go better. Wine can be shared with Flores as an offering to gain greater understanding of this demon. Flores will often also appear in a human form wearing black, with long black hair and black eyes. Flores works well with other demons. Fred must have not read the demonology book, or he must have been that crazy. I escaped the studio with Henry, and we swore not to tell anyone about that event, but we also swore to end the madness that will prepare us to go even further beyond. I will write down more of my experience when I get the chance. But what happened in that studio will forever be buried in my mind. What Henry told me was that Fred had the ancient demons, Succubus, Astereth, Orbus, Beelzebub, Nebrius, and Bathan, possess the characters of the show. And for some reason, Fred was the sacrifice all these years, and they never told him. I hope you learn something from my experience. And pray to whatever God you believe in, that whatever is still in that abandoned studio, doesn't get out.